So recently I realized that I actually haven't reviewed a Black Series figure at all this year. And with that, I haven't really purchased any. I definitely pre-ordered some, but I ended up canceling those pre-orders, having second thoughts. I'm just so, me personally, tapped out with this line that I just have a lot of stuff from them already. And it's not that they're making anything mediocre, totally, but a lot of stuff they're just, I'm just not really satisfied with. And, some of their reveals haven't been ones I've been really wanting. With that being said, it's recently been early Black Friday deal. So I actually got this on Amazon for $16 here. This right here is the Imperial Armored Commando. So I'm just going to take a quick look at the box here. This is very much a point and shoot style review. What you see is what you get. Pretty nice artwork right there. Back there has a read-up, if you do want to look at that. I think this is Mando Season 3. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember this in the previous seasons, and I have not seen those, but I'm Stormtrooper with Beskar. Sounds pretty sick. I'll go ahead and do I'll do that barcode if you need that, if you want to screenshot that. Again, no hate to anyone who likes this line and, the creative team behind this line too. I'm just really tapped out of it. A lot of Hasbro stuff, honestly. I've already undone the tape here, not only on the box, but on the accessories. So, we'll get that out there. Yeah, there's not going to be the craziest amount of editing going on here. We have this there. Then we have that. Last but certainly not least, sorry about the noise, the actual figure. So let's just go ahead and take a look at some of the stuff that this does come with. And we do have this really nice, blaster rifle. I'm really digging how this looks, actually. It's actually a little bit more of a harder plastic, too. Really nice texturing. I feel like the actual, look of this plastic looks nice, too. Sometimes it's a little plastic. Of course, no, duh, it's plastic. But sometimes it's a little too plastic looking. This is quite realistic looking. And I actually like that we have really nice accents of some metallic paint right here. And, it's continued on this side. And then right there. And I think all that paint, is really clean. I actually dig that a lot. I really like how this looks, the nice scope and everything. This is a two-handed weapon, so, insert it like so. Getting him to do two-handed poses isn't the worst. This does like to pop out of the hand a little bit. Some of his joints are a little stiff, and I'll talk about that in a second. But that's just a quick, really bad pose you can do there. But then we also have a blaster pistol right here too. And again, don't know the name, model of this. Similar things I can say about that rifle here is applied here. This looks great. It's kind of looks like Judge Dredd's pistol. This is really awesome looking. And again, really nice, very small surface area to get that silver in there. And also, not splotch it. Even on the barrel too, or that muzzle. I don't really know what that would be. That is fantastic looking. I really dig that. So kudos to them. I don't know if that's like this for all their weapons lately. If that's the case, where they're getting even if it's minor paint apps that are looking good, a little goes a long way. And that is really cool looking. Got my hand here because the autofocus is gonna mess with that. So we look here, we do have a holster if I cannot drop the figure. This little tassel wherever this is, does kind of get in the way a bit, but you just move that to the side, insert the pistol, and it should stay in there decently. It actually doesn't want to stay in there, never mind. Maybe I need to push it in a little more. Okay, yeah, you push seems like if you push the pistol in a little bit more, it is going to stay in, or at least it's slow, not coming out as fast as it was earlier, so that's something. Then we have this pretty cool jetpack here. I'm actually digging the gray on there. This is where, you could chalk this up to a little bit of battle damage, but it looks like some areas might be missing a little bit here, but that's really not a big deal. Again, that could be battle damage. I feel like This little section right here, maybe that should have more, or maybe that little section right there on the right of it is supposed to be white and the rest is supposed to be gray. So if there are any paint inconsistencies or not, I'm not going to knock it too much because I don't really know how entirely this is supposed to look. So from my understanding, anything I could complain about is actually accurate. So I actually like the black paint on these little exhaust ports. This whole thing, these little like small fins are actually pretty nice too. So that's pretty cool. And then you do have a section on the back here. It's pretty distracting with all those holes, but of course the idea is to plug it up with this backpack. And that is rather sick. Okay, so let's actually talk about this figure. That's a little black speck there. Might have to turn down a little bit. This thing is pretty good looking, man. I'm really digging this helmet. I'm a sucker for a good trooper design, dude. I love the, the Shore Troopers from Rogue One. Love those. All variations of Stormtroopers, normal Stormtroopers. Love Troopers, dude. And this is no exception. This looks really good. So like vent sections here do have some black mismatched paint if you look hard enough. That is a pretty small area to get in there. I think there's a little speck here I could scratch off, but I might end up scratching off the gray paint, so I won't do that for now. It's better on this side, right there. A little bit of silver there. We do have a pretty nice black line above the visors, or the eye sections. Mouth section also has some nice black paint there. The gray that they have on here looks quite good. And then there might be some sections of a little bit of like a scuff or something. I don't think that's supposed to be a paint app, but you could, again, chalk that up to that. It's not too out of place. If it was something like green or orange, like that kind of speck, that would be kind of interesting. That would be a little annoying, but yeah, nothing too obvious when it comes to any paint imperfections. I think there's a little bit of gray going up on here on the little dome. Maybe it shouldn't be like that. Don't really consider that the biggest deal either. Nice neck section. It's just some, gray. It almost looks like a grayish brown type of plastic. It's just molded in this plastic, but we do have some nice wrinkles going on there. Chest armor looks good. Really digging these little. I never know what these are. These are almost like medallions or something. Just let me, if you remember what they are in the comments, let me know. I'm probably messing that up. Or these could be buttons and control panels and stuff. Red lines, right here, actually looking pretty good. Great section right there. So there's some small areas on here that they actually really did get well when it comes to like how well the paint apps are done. Like this little patch on the left arm there has really good paint. A lot of that same type of plastic though, where it's just molded in this color for the this like undersuit section. Same thing on this side of this patch too. That looks really awesome. Also, didn't really mention the actual sculpt work is pretty good. A little bit of a glossy white here. I really dig this like wrist rocket or whatever this is. That is sick with the black and like this gunmetal almost on there. The red too. And then these are just I really like this color of gray they're using. It's a very clean gray. Then that red there too. That's what the hand looks like with the armor on the back. Actually very clean there too, because it's definitely molded in black and then they paint white there. A little bit of white is going on there. That's fine. That side too. That's even cleaner. That's really nice. Then this midsection here, it's also some gray I didn't mention right there. This midsection here has these designs there, and that is a really nice matte finish on the paint here. That looks incredible. I mean, it's a little simplistic, so maybe it's not the best looking, but I'm just impressed with how good it does look. I feel like the articulation is making this a little bit scuffed here, so keep that in mind when you're moving things around. I just think it's really clean, man. There's a lot of clean paint apps. And like even the glossy sections, sometimes I get to action figures, sometimes glossy sections look a little bad in certain lighting, but even the glossy sections on here look great. This whole belt, little crotch piece here, not done too badly. Let me take this out here so you do have an idea of what this holster looks like without a gun in there. And that is pretty nice. This whole thing is a separate piece of plastic here attached to this belt. Can't remove anything, of course, but again, that tassel pops in there, and it keeps popping. So that's probably one of the more consistent issues you're going to get across the board with this figure. Is that thing is probably going to stick out a lot. Again, the leg, the pants sections are this like brownish gray with just some, a little bit of texturing actually in the pants, if you see there. And then we do have, for the material, I mean, then we do have some wrinkles. Then this leg armor does look quite good and nicely painted white on each side. Some soft plastic for these knee sections, and they're a glossy plastic. Back there, they do actually have some detailing in the back of the joint there. Then we do have these huge, these pretty large boots. I should say they're pretty long. They go all the way up to the shin. Just this glossy white plastic with some nice detailing all throughout. That's what the bottom of the feet look like. So articulation does have a dumbbell joint here and here, so you get this type of range of motion there, up and down. So yeah, it's actually not the worst. I feel like the up isn't terrible. Down is also not too bad. Could be better. I've seen worse though. The arms can go almost all the way up, but they do go out a little bit over perpendicular, I guess, to the body. If I'm even using, Anyway, sometimes I say terms that probably aren't appropriate for what I'm trying to say. Anyway, this actually goes back kind of far. I'm surprised with that butterfly joint. And it actually kind of goes forward too. I'm digging that butterfly joint. Sometimes, even on Marvel Legends too, they've been kind of restricted lately. That's kind of sick. And of course, arms go all the way around. Single joint elbow, that gets a 90-degree bend that does swivel at the elbow. Swivel, actually, it also swivels at this arm guard piece. Up and down here at the wrist. Swivels here at the hand. Is this an up and down or an in and out? This is also an up and down, so you also get the swivel at that piece. Ball joint here goes all the way around. That's actually really good range of motion. Forward is not, back's not bad. Forward, it could be a little bit better though. This also doesn't get in the way at all, so that's cool. We do have forward right there for that hip. Not really back at all because the butt is getting in the way. We do have in and out there, but they don't split at all. We don't have a thigh swivel. I guess it's because of this leg armor piece, but I feel like they could have cut it in there and it probably still would have matched. Maybe you would have gone a little bit high. I don't really know, but yeah, that's a little hindered there. Not great. Only way you can kind of get a swivel is if you're swiveling here at the knee, which, usually there's a thigh swivel on these figures, so this is redundant. This is the only way we can have any kind of swivel in this leg for now, so I guess that's good, but definitely should be in the thigh if you ask me. And it does bend at a 90-degree angle. I do wish they bring double joints back for at least the legs on these figures. I think Stormtroopers and other figures used to have them. Goes down like that, actually really far. And then up is not too bad. And then ankle rocker. Not really gonna do standard. I do have my ruler here. Don't really have time for, size comparisons to get all these figures out. So let's take a look at it. Because this is a standard size Black Series. It's going to be a little, like, just under 15.5 centimeters. So what, like 6.5, 6 1/4? Actually, it's just under 6 inches. Am I doing that right? It's just at 6 inches. These are usually a little short in Marvel Legends. You guys are familiar with that. So yeah, again, the only the only Black Series figure I got this year, just simply because I don't really have a desire to keep going anymore. But even then, buying this on a whim when it was like 16, 17 bucks, and currently right now, I think it's still that price. Not bad. I'm actually quite impressed with how I did it. I'm curious to see if this level of quality in this figure like this is with the rest of their super recent stuff. If so, that's kind of awesome. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I do like this. Don't really know if I'm going to keep going with the line again. Again, it's mainly because I just have so much stuff, so... Still really nice to have this and for a cheaper price. Thanks for watching, and sorry for the impromptu review with no editing or anything. It just kind of felt like doing a point and shoot this time. I'll be back with more videos soon. See you guys later.